107.5 WBLS, your number one source for R&B.
I'm Kentaro.
Kentaro?
Yes.
Okay, and?
I'm Christopher Smith.
My name is Patrick Page.
I'm Sid.
I am Matthew.
And they are the internet. Now, you've heard us playing their song, Girl, featuring K-Tronada. And first, I want to say, how did we get this name, the internet?
It was a funny little joke, actually.
Really? It
And
started
we
out as a joke.
Yeah, we couldn't think of anything better, so we just left it.
Really?
By the
So nothing-
time we really thought to change it, it was kind of too late.
Too late.
Now, because you met on the internet?
We did.
That's why it stayed. That's why it was kind of like, it was a joke at first, and it was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, wait, I'm kind of have like connections to the
Yeah.
internet.
Somebody asked a friend like where he was from. He was like, "Nah, I hate when people ask me that. I'm gonna start telling people I'm from the internet, man."
Which is still cool.
Really?
And we were like,
Wait, but this was like MySpace or something like that, right?
yeah, we met on MySpace.
Because, see, a lot of people don't know you've been around for a minute.
Before the internet, yeah, but not before the internet, but before.
Right.
For the band, there's so many puns with that name.
But before the major social media
Yeah.
outlets, MySpace was the thing.
yeah, music MySpace. We
MySpace
had
and like
music profiles.
I mean, which is MySpace bought
Throwback.
eventually. Yeah.
Mhm. So then you met everybody else by what? By just bringing your people with his people together?
I went to high school with him.
Okay.
I met him in high school through my cousin Robbie, who's like his brother, and we met him through his brother,
Okay.
who was Thundercat.
And where are you all from?
We're from LA and he's from Atlanta, and we're missing Lil Steve. Lil Steve's also from LA.
He's from Compton.
Mm-hmm.
Compton.
Compton.
So, but you know, the song "Girl" pretty much defies any kind of category. If you had to categorize your music, what would you say? Or would you say it's a symbol, like Prince?
I just,
Shout out Prince.
I just say it's soul music. I think, you know, a lot of soul artists in the past did a lot of different things with their music, and it was still in that pocket. I just think, you know, when a new generation comes around, it, you know, new things get put on top of it. You know,
Right.
You know, genres get sort of mixed up, but it's still soul music. You know, it's still music about coming from the soul, and it's about real stuff. And we're using the legendary instruments, the bass guitar, the drum. You know, what soul music was made with. So
And things that we don't normally hear nowadays.
And I think, and that's what I'm saying. I think nowadays, because it was around
Oh,
30
yeah,
years ago, like, you know what I'm saying?
definitely.
So I think
Everything's
it's just
cyclical,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's a
It's
resurgence.
coming back around.
So that's why I like to call it soul music, because a lot of the artists that we like that went way further than we did musically, as far as like experimenting, was still considered soul music. So, you know, soul music.
Yeah, so you brought up Prince. I know that you had an album called Purple Naked Ladies.
Yeah.
Was that somehow inspired by Prince? Because
actually,
anytime you hear the word purple,
It was actually
You think
very.
Prince.
It was inspired by Stevie Wonder more so, actually.
really?
Yeah.
How?
That's just the kind of music we were on at the time. We were really into like psychedelic
Using
jazz.
clavs in the
yeah, using a lot of clavs and listening to a lot of George Duke and stuff like that. The kind of spacey jazz stuff, fusion
Wow.
kind of stuff.
So you guys, the silent ones.
You're not silent. He's not talking.
So your inspirations, because it's refreshing to hear young people talk about being inspired to play instruments and to be a band, a real band like the Mint Conditions and the New Age. So what inspired you to start picking up? Was it school instruments? I mean, because, you know, school, like music in school? No, it wasn't music in school. Music in church.
Church.
Okay.
Church may have started mine too. Now that I think of it, like, I think church might have originally started, you know, my love of instruments. Because I'm not really an instrumentalist myself. I'm more of a producer. But just like the soul in that type of music, I feel like, now that I think of it, that was like the earliest
that's
exposure.
Like, you
to
be
that.
in them
Wow.
churches and they be getting the rocky.
That's
like,
inspiring. I don't,
oh, all right.
Yeah, so it's like really no formal training, just going into the church and feeling
Go
your way
home
through.
and trying to play what you
Best
heard at
musicians
church.
on earth come out of church.
Yeah.
And then one thing you have to have, I think, to make good music is just an ear. I think we all have a really good
Joining is
ear as
real.
far as what sounds good. You know, we know a lot of people that can play great instruments but don't have the ear
Right.
to know what sounds good. So
Yeah, that's
I think
true.
that's most importantly what we have is we all have a really good ear for what's good.
Right. So we're going to get some gospel from the internet soon?
Hey, you
Oh.
never know.
Hey!
Kurt Franklin, we see you at the Grammys.
Hey, I can play on some gospel records. Damn, yo. Come on, hey, we can
Played on a real gospel-y song for a chance. It's on the surf album. Shout out to the whole Sox gang, Donnie
Hey,
Trumpet,
hey,
and all
the
them.
Pat,
social
the
experiment,
manager.
man. Love all y'all.
I go scene, man. Yeah, I played on a gospel-y record. That was like the first and only song.
Well, that's good.
It's
Now
probably
we got to
more to
do
come.
it collectively.
Yeah, my mom.
Maybe we have a
with
side
some. Your
project.
mom will be
some
very
side,
happy.
Side gospel album.
My mom would
Yeah.
jump through the roof.
And you know, today is the anniversary of the birth of James Brown. I like to go around the room and find out who, because everybody has been inspired by James Brown, some shape, form, or fashion. It might have been inherited through other people who were inspired by James Brown. Let's go around the room and say who, because this is a classic station.
Yeah.
This station has been here since the 70s, and our music is extensive as far as the classic soul and the soul
Thanks for
music that we
including
play.
us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So go around the room and tell us who inspired you personally.
I try to remain a sponge when it comes to music. You know what I mean? Because, I like that question. Like, what inspires you? It's like so much.
Yeah.
Like, so much inspires me, from like music to like architecture. You know what I mean? Like, I actually noticed that, because now I'm into making music. So like, I noticed that I don't really make music at home because I guess I just some type of button that don't get pressed when I'm at home. You know what I mean? But like, when we were on the train the other day, I noticed like when I'm in the air flying, or when I'm on the train, I get inspired by looking at clouds, or get inspired by movement. Like, goddamn, get inspired by like one of my friends sitting next to me on the damn train. There'll be like a little nuance, and I'll like turn that into a song or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? But even the greater artists, like from Frank Zappa to Michael Jackson to George A. Muldrow to Amano Mare to Charles Mingus to like from jazz to the whole spectrum of music, from Rolling Stones to Jeff Beck to, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's
So good to hear
nothing
that. Yeah.
that won't influence me musically.
There you go.
Nothing.
Yeah.
True.
Amen.
Yes,
Amen.
right?
Got real
Church,
emotional.
Exactly.
I was over here.
getting real
You
church
tearing
here.
up.
You taking us to church.
church, young
You
man.
taking us to musical
Young
church.
man, say it with your chest.
Yeah. What he said. Well.
Can you follow it up?
Oh, I'm gonna follow it up.
So who inspired you?
Hey, the purple one.
Really?
Yeah, Prince
That's
is-
always been my guy. Like, when I first, I remember the weekend because it was Saturday morning.
Mm-hmm.
My mom always made me and my brother clean up. I was by her record player, and I was just going through stuff, cleaning up, and I seen the little cassette of Purple Rain.
Mm-hmm.
And to all the Prince fans out there, don't get it twisted. I was a little kid when this happened. I mistaked Prince for Michael
Really?
on that cover. I was like, when did I was like, I looked at my mom. I was like, when?
Did you do
Yeah,
your
I was like, when? I was like, cause the bad cover and then with the bad cover and then the Purple Rain, with the curly hair, their hair was still like like that. So and they're both light skinned.
Right.
So and I was like,
Sorta.
like, yeah, but I was like,
Wow.
when did Michael do this? And my mom was like, baby, that's not Michael,
Right.
that's Prince. And I was like, well, I want to listen to it. And then she put it on, and I was just like, and there's a movie for this?
Yeah.
And I was like, and from there on, I found out that he, he helped produce The Time, Apollonia, Vanity, and all those guys. And I was just like, God, this dude is incredible. And then and ever since then, I was like, yo, man, I just love his music and loved what he stood for. And I was just like, I just love doing music. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm just going to do music, man. All my peoples I love to listen to do music. So I was like, I'm just going to do music. So I just did music.
Yeah.
Really, like Jamil pretty much hit it on the head with everything he said, but most of my inspiration, like all my musical influence, really comes from my mom. She used to sing on the praise team at Church of the Harvest, and she just used to be blasting all kind of music in the house, from Journey to Luther Vandross to Anita Baker to the Delphonics.
Yeah.
So I grew up hearing everything, and then growing up with my grandfather, like my grandfather's like this big husky white dude. He used to play country all the time, so I used to like country music. And then growing up in middle school, like I'm gonna just be honest for a second, I never hung around the black kids too much. I only listened to rock.
Really?
I used to hang around my friends that used to listen to like heavy stuff. And
I ain't never heard. That's new to me. Dang.
See?
Yeah, how did
That's
that-
crazy.
We-
That when I met him.
Now it makes sense.
Wow.
Now all the lines connect.
yeah,
That's
like when I was in high school, I
amazing.
didn't really start, like I've always like, the classic rap songs when I was little, but when I was in high school is when I was like, oh wait, rap is really, really dope. You like, but I've always listened to everything as a kid.
Wow.
Like everything. So there's but most of my musical influence and like inspiration, it comes from my mom and stuff.
All different
mostly.
spectrums.
Yeah, like there's
That's-
nothing I don't listen
That's
to.
amazing.
So-
And how about you, Sid?
Well, yeah, same here. My mom loves music maybe more than me. My dad's brother is a reggae producer. So growing up, every time I went to Jamaica to visit, like, just spent the whole time in the studio. And that's when I was like, yo, I want a studio when I grew up. So then I built a studio when I was like 14.
Wow.
But before, I played piano in like kindergarten, drums in elementary school or something. I played like guitar a little bit here and there. I say N.E.R.D was like a really big influence for me as far as wanting to be a producer and wanting to, or better yet, even wanting to be an artist, like to step out from behind that. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so wide a spectrum. Who you want to add to the pot, to the melting pot?
This is personally because he's from like pretty much my neighborhood's Andre 3000. Like Andre 3000 to me, like I just think it's great that somebody can get that big and leave it. I just always thought that was something so cool about that, and leave on a basis of like everybody begging him to come back. Because most of the time when you leave the rap game, everybody's telling you like, okay, get out. You know what I'm saying? Hey, all right, cool.
Yeah. Okay, it's time for you to go.
So I always thought it was cool. I always found it intriguing that he had everything that every rapper always wanted, like the attention, but he just was like, I'm cool on it. I just always thought that was cool about something as far as not letting music take over your life. I love music to death, but at the same time, I understand that, seeing my mother and like hanging with my brothers is more important than that. And I felt like Andre was somebody that said that, he implied that through his music without having to be like, hey.
Applied that through his life.
Yeah, through his life.
He dipped off.
And but some people just can't live without it, though. I mean, some people.
And here's the thing: he's still making it.
Yeah, still making it. I'm sure he still listens to music all day.
I'm sure that he just had a period in his life where he just felt like he needed to pull away because he was doing too much.
And sometimes I feel like I respect him because if you watch interviews, he says, I feel like I don't have anything else to offer. And I appreciate that honesty because a lot of artists know that they just don't say it and they keep releasing things and it taints what they did before.
Exactly.
Andre 3000 has the first, one of the only Grammys for Best Rap Album. What is it? Speaker Box Love Below. That's like the only album to win Best Album of the Year at the Grammys. And it went, rap album. But it won album of the year. And so it went diamond. So it's like, what else?
Right.
Is there to prove? You had to smash it with Hey Ya. You had to rap
really
respect.
Quit while he was ahead.
So to me, like that's what inspires me. Is like I'm not saying we're gonna quit while we're in.
No.
But it inspires me to know like this ain't everything. Like there's more to life than what we are doing. Because a lot of people get wrapped into it.
Same with D'Angelo. For him to
D'Angelo.
come back
and
so many years later and make a continuation.
Not skip a beat. That's the thing.
Well, you gotta have music. You can't let music have you.
At least you have had these experiences and you've been able to observe what it is that takes some people to succeed and realizing that it's not everything. Yeah. That you can pull away from it. The talent is still there. It's just that you don't have to constantly spew out these things just because record companies
and it takes away the pressure.
It takes away the pressure. You gotta come out with something every other month or something
that my
like
mom
that.
always tells me too is like, like I'll get to talking about music and be like, and then I may get like stressed out or something like that from just having that conversation. Be like, look, you have music don't have you.
Right.
And that's the one thing that I feel like those artists like Andre 3000 are in touch with, like being able to go like, man, fuck everything. And it's like go to your house and with your kids or whatever you got, your wife, your bitch, whatever, and then you go and chill. And it's like, cool, I ain't gotta make an album for another 30 years. And if I do,
sometimes to say what you're saying, less is more. Sometimes.
Yeah,
Sometimes
no.
More. Yeah. But the new album is called, it's not even new anymore, is it?
Funny because it came out 10 months ago and we're still like, it's still
people
surging.
Are just getting up on it, and that's a good thing. That you're continuously exposing new people to your music, and I'm sure you've met a new audience here, and you've intrigued a lot of them. So Ego Death is the name of the album.
Yes.
Go and get it on the internet.
Or in stores you can find it.
If you try.
Yeah, you can try.
Go ahead, try.
shout out to Amoeba Records.
It was a pleasure to meet all of you.
You too. Thank you for having us.
Continued success.
And
God
our
bless
music
you all.
too.
Yeah. We're going to play Girl right now. Again on WBLS.